trying to call me out about my fandom. Sucker! You spy! Cowboy Daryl in the Metroplex.
Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
Da 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 da. Steiny and Guru, along with Willard and Dibs.
Artist and name of track, Steiny.
No clue.
Wow. You know I know.
None. Dibs?
Of course, I know.
I know you know
Mark?
too.
Wait, it's
Mark?
hip? You're telling me it's hip hop?
Let's go to Mark.
That would be.
Because that's the only. Well, I shouldn't say. Never
Oh,
That would be Jay-Z.
look at my guy.
Big Pimpin'. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
Dang.
All right.
Yeah.
mind. All right.
Straight out of Foster City.
Look at
Crazy
this.
mother father named Willard.
Hey, the mean cul-de-sacs.
What's
the
that?
mean cul-de-sacs?
What would you call the
Foster
music
City.
genre of Prince?
Oh, is his own.
I love you for
Like,
that,
is he
man.
rock? Is he?
He could be all
hip
of it.
hop.
He can be all of it.
Yeah.
It's what we don't even talk about anymore, which is soul.
And
Interesting.
wow,
Good
dude.
old fashioned soul. And he had elements of rock and of R&B.
I'll keep going.
But to me, and I remember back to Dirty Mind and the early Prince days.
Little red Corvette.
Thank you.
Do I say I was my
Pre-1984.
guy?
That was
It's-
the one.
You're talking about
Look at Willard.
real soul, but that's what made Prince R.I.P. so good is he transcended multiple
No doubt.
genre and generations. He went from the late 70s into the early aughts, and he was able to be malleable. Steiny.
Can you play an
Nice.
instrument, Willard?
No,
You
I've
did?
tried. I've tried.
And Steiny,
Yeah.
I haven't asked. Can you play the piano? Anything? Why are we laughing?
Prince was the same thing that we are right now, man. He's crossover. It's crossover.
That's a good point.
You guys come in hot.
That is
You know.
a good point.
Hey, I just wanted to apologize. I know you guys getting ready for your show. And the one thing about brotherhood is we all have our character flaws. I'm not a yeller. I lose it sometimes, like yesterday with Priest. I really wanted to apologize.
And today with
And we had a spy call,
Tuesday with
little young
Steiny.
punk talking about you ain't no real fan, and that got to me. So I'm not that guy. So I'm just telling you, I lose it 0 to 100. But I
Real
thought about
quick.
they're in the other room. I don't come in here to do that.
No, we're not. It's not like a library. What do you think we're in there doing? I'm not writing some sort of a essay or something. Like,
But you know what though?
Hey, that helps.
you know what you are.
I was composing my sequilally.
Did you tell them that?
No.
You got it. Don't let us leave without telling Steiny that.
About Guru sequilally.
Trying
my
to slip
God.
it
Yeah.
on liquidate on.
Did he try to finagle his sequilally?
He tried, yeah.
But I told him myself.
I appreciate
Stop
it.
to roll the camera.
Go to like the 14-minute mark on Liquidate.
Willard, oh.
And I was going to let it go. I smiled and I
Let it
chuckled.
go.
And
couldn't.
I know.
You're not.
You're
a
running hot, though, on the
you-
pod.
You're not a yeller, and you're also not a yeller. But that all goes to the same place. And I tell you this all the time.
Right.
Authentic. You don't need to apologize.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
At least you're not like me. You're not
Right.
old yeller.
Right. Well,
Yeah.
That's a 4. That's a solid 4.
And real quick, Willard Priest, the reason I snapped is he thought he was, he's a legend. He dissed Brock Purdy, but act like he didn't do it, and that's what set me off.
Okay. I
Diz,
literally
We had
just
to pick up the pieces of that call.
I just cut
Terry
a video.
Rafferty.
I just cut a video for the
Another
station
4.
that's literally talking about
him.
this.
Oh, no
what
doubt.
you just said.
It's everywhere.
My
Wonder?
antennas are up to all of you out there who like to make it a qualification sensation.
That's a buck.
And he's good. He's good. I'm not saying that. He's obviously good. And then there's a small pause, and then here comes your passive-aggressive attack of Brock Purdy. You can't avoid it. It's if you've ever had a spouse in this life, we do it to each other all the time. Dibs and I joke. If you say, I'm sorry, and the next word is if or but, you're not sorry. So don't say Brock Purdy's good, and if the next word is if or but,
the other spots
you're
couldn't do
coming
it.
down his road.
How about though?
Yeah.
Hey,
That comes at the other end of the
I got
sentence.
some sound for you three. Surprise. Listen, play it, Evan.
The game is, can the 49ers win the Super Bowl like this?
They
And you think they can't?
No, it
I think they
just
can.
goes against. If they do, I'm done. I'm not covering the sport again. If they win it with Brock Purdy, Sam Darnold, sure. I can get on board with Sam Darnold. Not Brock Purdy.
We did the entire 5 o'clock hour on Mr. Ruiz.
Oh, he did that yesterday.
Wow.
Okay.
And,
Wow.
I don't even know what kind of energy I have left for it anymore.
That was hate.
We're all like torn based on the fact that he has successfully, as we used to say, got his name in the paper about 1,000 different ways. And so to a degree, we've all fallen into that trap. If it is indeed a trap, he's either inauthentic or a complete crazy person. And only he can answer which one of those it is. It's obviously a ridiculous opinion, and it obviously comes from, again, either he's trying to get attention,
All right.
or he's the definition of a hater. Like I don't even know. I don't know
to
what
me,
else to say about it.
To me, it's even the kind of thing that if 10 years from now, Purdy never got it done for whatever reason, he's still not right. You know what I mean? Like,
He'll stop at his first sentence when he goes, I watch the games, and he's not doing anything.
Dude,
Done, period, send, seal, mailbox, night.
by the way, speaking of name in the paper, you see, you were mentioned in a prominent writer's piece.
Yeah, for coming up with draftism.
Yes.
Tell me.
The Mark Willard creation.
Mr. Ethan Strauss.
One of the most
Shout
one of
out.
the brightest writers
Okay.
we have out there. Ethan Sherwood Strauss wrote something on Brock Purdy, and he cited Mark Willard using the term draftism, which means where he was drafted is still having a bearing on how he's talked about.
Well, and he spent about 2-3 of the first paragraphs talking about how he's felt this way for years about Draymond Green.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
And he's absolutely right. And we're doing the same thing to Brock that we've done for years to Draymond and still do today. No matter, like, Hall of Fame career now, statue someday in front of Chase, and we still will find people to go, yeah, but put him on another team.
I hate that.
And what would happen if you put him? And so we're already doing that to Brock, and it is literally the basis of what Steven Ruiz is saying. And we've already, on a prominent level, done this once in the NFL world. It was called Belichick versus Brady, and we got our answer. He's not a system quarterback. Belichick might have actually been a system coach, and the system was Tom Brady.
Wow.
So the play coaches don't. Can they help players? Of course. I don't think coaches and systems make players. Not at this level.
The one thing my mom taught me this.
Mary.
She had a phrase: assume good intent. Okay, if somebody says something, assume they're just good intent. And I do think there's something where, okay, the fact that he's a 7th rounder, it doesn't mean that I think he stinks, but the fact that he's a 7th rounder is a big part of his story, and people need to figure out how a 7th rounder can be as good as he is. Okay? There's been a few examples before of undrafted guys. The other thing is, the other truism is the Niners right now are loaded. They just are.
Totally.
He just came onto a team that's loaded. That's the thing. But here's also where the whole Kyle Shanahan genius thing that we've been talking about for a while, that actually works against Brock as we talk about Brock, because we've acknowledged that Shanahan's a great play caller. So there are 3 things that I pinpointed that there's no hate, but we've called Kyle a great play caller. They do have unbelievable weapons, and this guy came out of nowhere. It's like, so you need an explanation. You know what I mean?
Well, the explanation comes from TJ Hushmanzada, who joined us a couple of weeks ago and said basically that he was misidentified.
Yeah.
And he was underdrafted because teams did not realize how to properly analyze what he could do and who he was. Now, it's not to say that you look at Brock Purdy in college and go, yeah, first rounder, surefire. But he was definitely misidentified and he was underdrafted. And so when you look at those things, combined with what you're saying, great team around him, great coach, great system, everything else, it becomes part of the narrative.
I mean, at any level, because part of it is also his position, is because he's a quarterback. Couple things. One, Patrick Mahomes got drafted by a great play caller, had maybe the best receiver in the game, has the best tight end in the game. I've never heard anyone go, wow, what a great situation Pat ended up in. But first rounder, and there was already excitement about him. Wasn't number 1 overall, right? Wasn't even top 5. But easier to explain. You look at the physical gifts, and therefore you can see it right away. So that's where, to me, that's where draftism comes from.
Tell me. Oh, let me just get. Go ahead, Stein. You got to do the thing. Oh, you got a minute?
Go ahead.
We're fine. We got all kinds of time. It's Friday. Where you going?
I'm not about
the legal.
Tell
I know.
You guys help me grade my feelings here because my dad told me you can't grade feelings. But let's just say Barack Obama came from the hood and he ended up being the president. And he always cited where he came from and how hard it was, his upbringing. That's a part of his story and whomever's that comes from that background. You never want to forget about that. I'm not comparing myself to Brock Purdy at all. I won a radio contest. And when I first got into business, I was ashamed of it. Nobody knew because I knew I kind of didn't go the traditional route. And then I realized one day I slapped myself like, dude, you got to own that's where you came from and why you came from that. So when I say or take offense, tell me if I'm going against draftism. Brock Purdy, I think the beautiful part of this is he was the last pick. So why would we, and I'm not saying you guys are, try to erase that element of this story of mystery relevant, which says all you smartasses got it wrong, and we're not that he couldn't do it, but he got drafted there. To me, Mark, that is like a tattoo, a badge of honor in his story.
I agree.
Of just killing the game of you guys got it wrong.
But no one's saying that. See, it's like I'm not running. I don't think anybody wants to run from the story. The story's a movie. It's unbelievable. But instead of a lot of media members going, wow, amazing story, let's make popcorn.
Situation's good.
Let's make popcorn and let's give credit. They're going to go, well, we couldn't have been that wrong. So there must be some other reason that this story is happening. We need to Disney this thing up even more. I don't know why everyone's so cynical.
Well,
let Disney happen.
Here's a question that I have about misevaluated.
Man.
Okay, so I've seen him play 10 times, right?
Oh, you watched the games?
10
I thought
times.
only Steven Ruiz watched the games.
10 times in the NFL. Okay. Clearly, he's a much better athlete than people ever get. But why? He played 55 games. Why did that sneak up on anybody? He had to be that way in college. He had to be as accurate as he was in college, right?
Well,
at his size.
Think
I get
about
his size.
how we look at athleticism, and we look at quarterback athleticism as your 40 time, your 3-and-cone drill, your vertical leap, your combine throws in your arm, and all the rest of it. What about his athleticism, which is being able to see what's coming and move in a 5-yard spurt faster than the defense can? And that's what he does. He's
got an unbelievable first step.
Man.
If they took all 53 Niners and lined him up and did a 50-yard dash, he's probably coming in 29th, I would imagine. He might gut it out over Trent Williams or, one of the various other offensive linemen. But his athleticism is functional, and it's not a combine number, which is, I think, why many people didn't look at him that way.